No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.
Hello, my little ninjas. And in case you're new, this is my YouTube page, Mox News. And welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxie. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please never forget, it's always better when you're here. I have many videos for you this evening. And I have, they're wanting to charge the Capitol Hill protesters from January 6th with sedition now. I've talked lots and lots about sedition. I think sedition is one of the most American things you can possibly do. If you are a U.S. citizen and you have the freedom to speak out against the government, which is what sedition is. It's acts or speech that causes people to question the authority of the government. Again, I do this on a daily basis, and I'm most proud of it. And there's no way anyone will ever stop me from doing it. Because I hate this government. This government is a horrible, horrible piece of shit. Especially the Joe Biden government. They're going to keep us in Afghanistan forever. I will guarantee you the United States military, they're supposed to leave this week, right? That's what, March 3rd. Supposed to leave March 3rd, I believe. All troops out of Afghanistan. But it's not going to happen. And you know why? Because we can't pull the troops out of Afghanistan. It's too unstable right now. And the ISIS, the Taliban is working with the ISIS. You know, you guys remember the ISIS, don't you? I don't really remember the ISIS. But you need to be very, very scared. If we leave Afghanistan, bad things, man. Bad things. And that's the government that we have. And that's the media that we have, who could never get enough war. The media who wants to call themselves journalists and talk about Donald Trump incessantly as if he's the worst piece of shit on the planet. Meanwhile, his predecessor, Barack Obama, was called the Drone King, going around drone striking hospitals, schools, funerals, wedding parties, all of those are considered acts against humanity. But Donald Trump is the biggest piece of shit on the planet. Oh, and then there's George W. Bush and Dick Cheney, who, out of the White House, they created lies. Lies and lies and more lies to lie us into a war in Iraq. And in Iraq, 1 million innocent people died in your name, based on lies, with your tax dollars. So it looks like you're responsible. Not George W. Bush, not Dick Cheney, who made millions and billions of dollars off the war in Iraq and every other war. You know how I feel about war profiteers, right? They are the biggest scum on the earth. They are a scourge that we must send to prison to make examples out of for the rest of their life, seize every single asset they have. I'm talking about you, Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney must go to prison for the rest of her life. Every chance she gets to vote to prolong war, she does. And meanwhile, she profits off it immensely. Okay, that's what kind of piece of shit government we have. And those people all need to go to prison. For one reason. You guys know what the reason is? In order to make the world a safer place for little children. Okay? We put away pedophiles, right? In order to make the world a safer place for little children. But war profiteers go around spreading war and killing children so that they can make a shiny penny. Yeah, war profiteers. Anyways, nobody's listening. I don't care. I'm going to have a bong hit. That sounds pretty good to me. So, what's the title of tonight's show? Oh, right. These curfews are in place in order for your protection. I don't understand why you people don't get it. These curfews are in place for your protection. And anyone caught out after curfew will be shot. Okay? So we understand, again, what kind of government it is that we're dealing with. And in fact, there was partiers out Saturday night, Friday night in Miami Beach, and the cops began shooting them. Okay, they're only shooting them with pepper balls, but they're fucking shooting at people because they're partying. Again, this is the government, the police state that we currently exist in. And I know, again, I know that there's smart people out there. I know that there's brave people out there. I know that you guys deserve a better government than this piece of shit that we currently have. And I don't care if we're talking about state government or federal government. These people are horrible, horrible, horrible. The reason that they're shooting pepper balls at partiers in Florida is because the mayor told them to do it. Okay? Piece of shit government. That's where we're at. I'm going to have a damn bong hit. I have too many videos to play for you guys. What should we play? Fucking Tiger. White privilege card. Oh, largest asteroid to pass by the Earth in this year? In years? Big asteroid just went past the Earth. Very scary. If you listen to this guy, and also notice the t-shirt that he's wearing. Please, notice the t-shirt that this guy is wearing. Largest asteroid to pass by the Earth in quite some time. You guys hear about that? I doubt it.
The largest asteroid to pass by Earth this year has just reached its closest point, giving astronomers an opportunity to observe a space rock that formed at the dawn of the solar system. The asteroid, which was first discovered 20 years ago, is about 900 meters in diameter. The American Space Agency, NASA, says that at its nearest point, it will still be 2 million kilometers away. Well, Jeffrey Hoffman is former NASA astronaut who's now a professor of aeronautics and astronautics at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad you're interested in astronomical subjects.
Oh, we are always interested here on BBC World News. Now, this idea of it being what did I just say, 2 million kilometres or so away, that doesn't sound very close. Is it close?
Well, I mean, knowing how big it is, this is, over a half a kilometer asteroid. So, I mean, it's a planet killer if it were to hit the Earth. So, whether it's too close or not, I mean, as long as it misses us, I think it's far enough away.
Okay, and where are we on mapping all these objects out there that could actually hit us and do us some damage?
Well, it's been a long-term project of NASA to try to map all of these so-called near-Earth asteroids down to a certain size. I don't know what they've gotten, something on the order of 150 meters. But, this big asteroid is not the only one that's passing by us today. There's another one that's, this one is the big one is about 2 million kilometers. There's another asteroid that's only about 30 meters across that's going to miss us by about 1.5 million kilometers. That's not closer, but it could do a lot of damage. And it was only discovered 2 days ago, last Friday. So, there's still surprises out there.
Well, that's slightly worrying that it was only discovered 2 days ago and there are still surprises that size out there.
Well, the thing is, things can come at you out of the sun, like fighter jets in the movies and in the wars. What we really need is a dedicated satellite which will be able to do an even deeper survey of these objects. And NASA is, in fact, working on this.
Okay. Do we have
the longer we go, the safer we'll be.
Do we have a plan in place if we discover that one is coming a bit too close for comfort?
Well, if you can get it early enough, then there are many things you can do, because if it's far enough away from you and you know about it in advance, and you can fly up to it with a spacecraft and just give it a little push, that's enough to change its orbit so that it will miss us. But if you only see it 2 days before it's going to hit us, unfortunately, there's probably not too much we could do.
Right, that's a slightly.
How early you get it.
I see. That's a slightly unsettling note to end on, but I'm afraid we're at the end of the show, so we must leave it there. Jeffrey Hoffman, thank you so much.
That's nature. Always good to talk.
Thank you.
All right, you see that guy's shirt? It said Moxie. I'm your host, Moxie. That was kind of cool, but a little bit scary. He said another larger asteroid will be passing by the Earth in a few days. He said it's going to pass within 1.5 kilometers. I believe that's what he said. That's incredibly fucking close. That's incredibly fucking close. I'm feeling much better now. So 1.5 kilometers, I believe that's what he said. That is, that's really close. And the thing is that, lost my train of thought. But it's, he said, he said, that they only discovered it 2 days ago. That video is from Friday or Saturday. I think it's from Saturday. They only discovered it 2 days ago. It's a larger asteroid than the one that just passed by. It's passing closer to the Earth. And he said, he said at the end there, he said, If we only discover these things 2 days before it hits the earth, there's not a lot we can do. I don't know what we can do if we know, 10 days, 2 weeks, a month. I don't know how much we can do, right? But, what's that Bruce Willis movie with the asteroid? So, I thought that was very interesting. I want to make sure to share that with you guys. Also, I believe we got a new seed breeder today who wants to work with us. I'm talking with him now through email. He's going to give me a call tomorrow or the next day. I'm a little bit busy tomorrow with doctor bullshit. So it might not be tomorrow. But as soon as I can, I will let you know who it is and what strain or strains we will be growing from this incredible seed bank that I'm so happy about. So this summer in the backyard garden, I can't wait. I guess you guys know this is a call-in show, right? Pretty sure you know this call-in show. That's why the telephone number's up there on the screen, is because it's a call-in show. So if you'd like to call, just in case you can't see the number, it's 805-669-6397. That's 805 Mox News. 805-669-6397. Right? Yeah, I got it right. 805 Mox News. And I'd love to talk to you about the lockdown in Florida. I'm really wondering, if this is becoming like a military or a medical dictatorship, right? Because people are out partying. Because people are out partying and not wearing masks, we can shoot at them. I believe this is becoming a medical dictatorship. I heard that phrase a couple days ago, and I was thinking about titling a show like that. Is COVID creating a medical dictatorship? And the real question is, how long before they tell us that you have to have your COVID shot? I mean, they're going to make it mandatory. I got a call today from my doctor's office, and the doctor said, or the person who called said, I wanted you to know that we have a COVID shot available for you. Would you like me to set an appointment? And I said, no, thank you. And he said, okay. No, thank you. Courteous. But, like I said, a couple of years from now, if the COVID is still a thing, which it won't be a couple of months from now. So we're clear. And I don't mean to sound like Donald Trump, but Joe Biden says COVID won't be a thing by July. So I'm not really sounding like Donald Trump. I'm just a tiny bit ahead of Joe Biden's schedule. That's all. And I was saying this in October. The COVID will be gone by April or May. It's not that it won't be gone, it's that it won't be top of the news every news hour after hour after hour. We have to spend the whole hour talking about COVID. It's not going to be like that come April, May. I guarantee it. So, just stay cool. Like I've said again and again, just stay cool and we'll get through this thing. You guys remember back in February, March, last year, 2020, when people were calling the show every night, talking about how we're all gonna die? See the beautiful globe? Everyone on that beautiful blue globe is gonna die. We're gonna die. We're all gonna die. You guys remember that? And how did I respond to them? I said, just stay cool. Can you stay cool for a couple of weeks? You can stay through, and I know it's been more than a couple of weeks, but the point was then is they say it takes 2 weeks for the incubation before you start exhibiting signs of the COVID, right? So, with your fear, your overwhelming fear, not you guys necessarily, But the people that were calling saying we're all going to die, that overwhelming fear, I was trying again to say, okay, number one, don't buy into the super hyped up fear, and number two, can you get through the next 2 weeks? Right? They say the incubation period is 2 weeks. Can you get through that? And yeah, I can get through that. Now, I know it's been 14 months or whatever. The point is, I think, I helped a lot of people just to stay calm and relax and not feel like we're all going to die. Yeah, I can make it 2 weeks, And this is the way I see the whole thing continuously. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to get the COVID shot. I was talking, one of my neighbors, right? My dog was pooping on his lawn. And I was saying, he asked me, I asked him, you want me to bring you over a plant? I said, I'm starting seeds and I'll be happy to bring you over a plant. So I'm going to have to take him a plant. I got to make a couple plants for the UPS guy. He's so nice. He said he had trouble starting seeds last year. I said, that's no problem. I can get that started for you. But I was talking to one of my neighbors. The dog was pooping on his lawn. I was talking to him. And like the first thing he asked me, he said, do you get the shot yet? And I said, no. I said, nobody's going to miss me when I'm gone, right? So I'll save that shot for someone who really needs it. And then I said, like 2 years from now, if COVID's still a thing, I'll think about getting the shot then. I said, but I won't get the shot. So, I'm not interested in the shot. I'm not interested in anything this motherfucking police state government offers, because everything that they offer is shite. And it's in order to get control of you. They're going to say, oh, you don't have a cell phone? Here, let us get you a cell phone so that you can put your vaccine passport on your smartphone and everybody knows that you're good. They're going to be giving away cell phones to people who don't have them so that they can get their vaccine passport, because it's going to be mandatory anywhere you go now. Not now, but that's what they want. But at the same time, I'm saying it has to be over by April, May. This is why they're hyping up the fear so much now. Right? It's just never ending. Oh, we don't know how many shots we're going to have. Oh, we stopped taking appointments for shots. Oh, look at all the people waiting in line. They're afraid to go home because they think there might be more shots and then they'll lose their space in line. These are propaganda techniques in order to make you fear. Like, we don't want the smoking gun to come in the shape of a mushroom cloud. Condoleezza Rice about Iraq having nuclear weapons. We don't want the smoking gun to come in the shape of a mushroom cloud. Again, this is your government. When we knew, which is a lie. They were lying about we got to go to war with Iraq. Everyone knew they were lying. Everyone now knows that they're lying, that they lied. They went and killed 1 million people in your name with your hard-earned money to make Dick Cheney rich beyond his wildest dreams. And by the way, George W. Bush, father, has is part owner in the Carlyle Group. The Carlyle Group being a major manufacturer of weapons. And from what I understand, he started the Carlyle Group with Osama bin Laden's father back in 1980 something. Might have been 1980. Again, this is the government we have. George H.W. Bush being a president, and then his son comes into power, and they created this military, profiteer thing, his son, which really wasn't elected, but the Supreme Court decided to insert him into the White House after a challenged election in Florida where his brother just happened to be the governor. Okay, I mean, is this do you people really believe these things are coincidence? Because they're not. These are evil motherfuckers. And they're doing evil in your name on a daily basis. They have to go to prison. We have to make examples of them. If we don't send them to prison for the rest of their lives, seize every asset they have so their children and grandchildren have to live destitute and disgraced to the whole world. Because who's going to hire a war profiteering piece of shit? Or the offspring of one, if we actually had the right mind frame? No one. So, since we're not getting any callers, let's see, do not disturb is off. Since we're not getting any callers, I'm going to go ahead and play another video about leaving Afghanistan. Because that's what we're talking about after all, isn't it? How we're never going to leave Afghanistan under the Joe Biden presidency or the Kamala Harris presidency. And they're making that entirely clear at this moment. So I thought that I should point it out where your hard-earned tax dollars will be going during the Biden-Harris presidency.
The US Defense Secretary Lloyd has called for a reduction in violence in Afghanistan during a brief unannounced visit to Kabul. After talks with the Afghan president, Mr. Austin refused to be drawn on whether Washington still planned to withdraw troops from Afghanistan by May. Well, let's get more on this now from Tabish Farour, the former Afghan government official, joins us from New York. Thank you so much for coming on the programme.
Sure, thank you.
So let's talk about this unannounced visit, first of all. What do you think the Biden administration will have got out of that visit?
Perhaps the powerful message Biden administration is doing with the region in terms of bringing all the players on board about the Afghan peace process. The military option is still on the table. There are reports of a 6 months extension of the withdrawal, which is looming very close. I mean, that was due to May 1st. So it means that if there is an extension, there has to be a time frame within that extension to push for peace and to make sure that the negotiated peace is in reach. But of course, the trip is also significant in terms of the top defense minister of Biden cabinet to Kabul. It signals that the Biden administration still needs a partnership to be sort of reinforced with Kabul administration, and then push from there for something that is going to happen perhaps in Ankara summit and other regional summits about Afghan peace process.
Okay, Tabish, I just want to pick you up on that idea of this extension. So at the moment, troop withdrawal due in May, this idea of a 6-month extension, is that something that you think Afghan officials will be pushing for?
The Afghan officials are expecting a more sort of renewed cooperation with Biden administration. That means that if the level of the cooperation from the security forces of the United States is continued to the Afghan forces, they can hold major cities, they can push back Taliban attacks, and they can still make sure that they have the leverage on the talks, on the negotiating table. It means giving a sort of pause to all the chaos that happened under President Trump. An extension is also another opportunity for Biden administration to make sure that the region is not collapsing into a full instability after the withdrawal of the American troops. Just remember that what happened, for example, in 2011 in Iraq, for example, American forces withdrew in 2011, but all of them were there fighting another enemy in 2014. So the Iraq experience is instructive, and that mistake should not happen in Afghanistan, particularly when the Taliban are still not meeting their commitment and they're not loyal to the deal that they made with the US last February. And of course, their relations with the terrorist networks like Al-Qaeda is still strong, and the synergy for the international jihadist terrorist network is there. So to be on the safe side, responsible withdrawal means to give more diplomacy and more deliberation to whatever decision on Afghanistan.
Okay, Tabish for all. Thank you very much.
Welcome back. Just before leaving office, former US President Donald Trump negotiated with the Taliban to withdraw all US troops from Afghanistan by May the 1st. But that is far from a simple task. Some in Congress don't like the idea. Last week, President Joe Biden himself admitted it would be tough to pull all troops out of the country by that date. And while his administration may be considering a new deadline, no decision has been made.
I'm aware of there is speculation that the president has made a decision on keeping troops there to November, till November. And, I'm a pretty prominent guy in those discussions typically. And to my knowledge, the president has not made a decision or made any announcements on when he'll decide to remove the troops.
US politicians, military officials and others are chiming in on what a troop drawdown right now in Afghanistan could really mean. Some say the country is still too unstable, a criticism supported by one US government watchdog agency, which just released a report showing Taliban attacks are actually increasing. The report goes on to say security remains the most crucial and enduring high-risk area for Afghanistan because the Taliban have not significantly changed their tactics, high levels of violence or political objectives. And terrorist groups in Afghanistan like Islamic State Khorasan and Al-Qaeda, although reduced, remain in country. Lisa Curtis is a senior fellow and director of the Indo-Pacific Security Program at the Center for a New American Security. She's also a former CIA analyst, joins me now from Washington. Delighted you could make it, Lisa. This report by the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction, pretty concerning on a lot of levels, all sorts of concerns about what would happen if the US stuck to that May 1 withdrawal.
Okay, enough of that. All we need to know is she's a former CIA analyst, okay? That's all we really need to know. She is not a former any fucking thing. She is a current CIA, maybe she's a former analyst and now she's working as an operative, a propagandist for the CIA and the US government, but she's not, she still works for the CIA. A former, analyst, right? A former CIA analyst. Well, maybe she's not an analyst anymore, but she still works for the CIA. So we're clear. Joe Biden is going to stay in Afghanistan forever, and they want to talk about how the Taliban attacks are up, and they really haven't changed strategy at all, which tells us that the Pentagon is filled with a bunch of fucking idiots who can't beat people living in caves and mud huts, according to our fearless leader, George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, and the assholes in the Pentagon. Okay? The Pentagon can't beat people living in mud huts. Okay? But they want to go to war with China. They want to act like they're going to go to war with Russia. But they can't beat people living in mud huts. The Pentagon is filled with a bunch of fuck-ups. And we're spending trillions of dollars on stupid wars that we can never win. On stupid wars of fear. This Pentagon propaganda that comes straight out of the Pentagon and straight into our mainstream news media is fear, 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 fear. And I told you guys again, I just told you a minute, don't buy into the hyped up fear. It's You know, oh, the Al-Qaeda's working with the Taliban. You guys know about the Al-Qaeda. You remember what the Al-Qaeda did, right? And it's not just foreign countries. Okay, it's not. It's America. These bullshit wars based on lies is happening in your neighborhood with our ever-expanding police state. In another failed war, the war on drugs. Just like the war in Afghanistan, the Pentagon is a bunch of fuck-ups who can't beat people living in mud huts after 21 years. So that's a failed motherfucking war. Let's just accept it that the Pentagon got beaten by people living in mud huts and moved the fuck on. Okay? Doesn't that make sense to anybody else? How about the failed drug war? Oh, we have to think of the children. Another completely failed war that has brought us a heroin epidemic. Meanwhile, our troops, our brothers and sisters, our mothers and fathers, our sons and daughters are in Afghanistan protecting poppy fields. I just had that confirmed by one of our regular callers who's had 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan, from what I understand. And Craig has checked him out pretty thoroughly, so you guys know. He's very good at that. He knows who all of you people are. He's very, very snoopy, that guy. Okay, so what I'm saying is, we have this failed war in Afghanistan. We have this completely bullshit war based on complete bullshit in Iraq, which I have no idea. I mean, you know, they call them contractors, but they're just mercenaries. Again, paid with your hard-earned tax dollars to kill people in your name. Why are we in Iraq? Oh, right, because the White House made up a bunch of fucking lies. And Dick Cheney is getting more rich. Liz Cheney's getting so rich, voting for war after war after war. Liz Cheney cannot get enough war. Oh my God. And she's going to be there forever. She's going to be unless we put her in prison, of course, which I think is, you know, the only option. I mean, I don't know how we can possibly have evildoers like this representing us. How long do you want to have failed wars costing us trillions of dollars? How long do you want to have a failed drug war, which is a war on your children, supported by the Pentagon, while they protect poppy fields in Afghanistan, where 90% of the opium comes from, the heroin comes from? The Pentagon's in on it. They're flooding the streets with it. This government hates you. They hate your children. Unless you're a billionaire or somewhere in that neighborhood, you're not worthy of them listening to you. All I'm saying is that we can do better, and we deserve better. I'm just so tired of these evil doers doing evil in the good name of these United States. In your good name. You deserve better. You deserve so much better. And the only way to deal with this, the only way to get better, isn't to vote, is to make examples of those doing evil in our names. You know, they're like, oh, we got to make an example of these people that protested at Capitol Hill on January 6th. These people committed acts of sedition. These people are domestic terrorists. These people are, you know, insurrectionists committing acts of sedition. We've seen this happen in state capital after state capital after state capital. Of course, they didn't battle the police. They just walked in and took over the Capitol. Because that's how it's supposed to be. There's not supposed to be a ring after ring after ring of police and military protecting fucking piece of shit politicians. It's not supposed to be that way. We're supposed to be able to walk in and look around and say, oh, this is our government. I'm proud of it. But we can't really be proud of it, can we? Because it's a horrible piece of shit government where everybody needs to go to prison. And hopefully, sometime, one day, in the not too distant future, before we get hit by an asteroid, at least, I really hope that happens. That would be such a glorious day. I would love to celebrate that day with you guys. Just putting up face after face on the live stream of piece of shit that's going to prison forever. Oh, I might pause on Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney for a while, because they deserve to go to prison for the rest of their lives. No parole for the rest of their lives. I know it's not going to be that very long for Dick Cheney, but if we seize all their assets, we seize all their land, we seize their companies, every piece of stock they own, every cent they have in the bank, sell their homes, then their family, their grandchildren have to live in destitute, and they have to live in shame, and they have to know why they got locked up, because they were horrible people who made a shiny penny off of killing babies in a faraway country. And they just kept the wars going forever and ever and ever. And my bet is this is the reason Donald Trump was removed from office. Not that I'm saying that, there's some kind of shenanigans going on. I'd like to know for sure that there wasn't shenanigans going on in the White House. In the election. I would like to know that for sure. And I think it's very, very strange that I seem to be the only one. Hello, caller.
Michael, this is Steve. Motherfucking McClanahan. How are you doing tonight, Michael?
I'm good. How are you?
Isn't it past your curfew currently?
I'm inside, so I don't have to worry about the curfew.
Is it past your bedtime?
No, that's usually around 6 a.m.
Jesus Christ, Michael.
I got parties to go to.
What's going on, Michael? This is Steve motherfucking McClanahan. There really isn't any news breaking other than nobody gives a fuck about it. Hashtag Iceland is on fire and melting into the ocean, causing global warming, and Florida is currently going to be underwater in by tomorrow morning or some shit, apparently. Cause
Iceland is not exactly the frozen tundra. Are you talking about the volcano that's going off there?
I'm talking about the volcano that's going off in Iceland.
Right.
Okay, the land
Greenland is much more icy than Iceland, so you know.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Listen, breaking fucking news. Iceland is on fire and it's melting all of the fucking goddamn ice there on Iceland. It's going to roll over into the fucking ocean, and then the whole fucking goddamn East Coast is going to be flooded, and nobody even cares about global warming.
I really don't give a fuck about the East Coast. They won't legalize marijuana. Fuck those people.
Fuck them. I guess it doesn't. Fuck that news. Fucking let that volcano just erupt. Let's melt Iceland.
Maybe you guys can get some beachfront property for a change.
Yeah, no shit. I tell you what, that'd be nice for fucking. I swear to God, as long as I've been fucking here on Earth, about fucking time. Jesus Christ. And you know what? Nobody can complain about fucking, people taking over other people's property because it's nature. It's when nature calls. Water did this, sons of bitches. Sorry about your fucking luck.
Hey, I keep saying again and again and again, water kills more people than marijuana. That's for sure.
What if water took over our crisis at the border? You know, I'm just saying. You know, people probably thinking about that. Maybe that's why they're fucking doing the volcano right now. Maybe that's it. They're trying to rise the sea level, Michael. Breaking news, conspiracy theory or not? Nobody knows. But I think they might be trying to raise the sea levels on purpose, Michael.
You might be true.
I mean, it could be. Never know.
Could be.
You got chemtrails out there in the fucking world and shit. Nobody gives a fuck about. Iceland's on fire because of a volcano. Obviously, that is fucking global warming right there. This is textbook global fucking warming. Ladies and gentlemen, you have ice on fire, rising sea levels. The entire world is fucking fucked. Michael, I gotta go.
Okay.
I'll call you back.
Oh, yay. Steve motherfucking McClanahan. And there is a big volcano going off in Iceland, but again, Iceland isn't nearly as frozen tundra as Greenland, which I've never understood, but it's the truth. So I wouldn't worry about sea levels rising all that much from Iceland melting. But, you know, I'm sure that there's other perfectly valid reasons why the sea level is rising. I don't know what they are, but, you know. And, you know, they want to say, like, the polar caps are melting, right? And then they want to have the right to go up there and drill oil in the polar caps, right? They want to, because there's a ton of fucking oil up there. There's all kinds of mineral reserves, like gold and diamonds, from what I understand. So they want to go, they just want the polar cap melted so that they can go there and they can mine the shit out of it. So if, like Steve said, that he believes it's a government conspiracy, I believe that they do want the polar caps melted. And the other reason besides wanting to mine the shit out of it is because they want to use those shipping lanes. It's much shorter, from what I understand, if you can go across the top over to another country, as opposed to having to go all the way around, you know. You can just go over the top. So they want to use that as shipping lanes also, desperately. And that's why the polar caps are melting, if anybody wants to know. At least in my opinion, as Steve says, or it's not so much why the polar caps are melting as why we're not really doing anything about the polar caps melting. Because they don't want to. They don't care whose country falls into the sea. It doesn't matter. As long as they get their shipping lanes, they can save a penny. They can make another shiny penny. What's wrong with these people that they don't have any other priority than making another shiny penny? How did those people get in charge, right? I mean, I'm just saying. All right, so this is a call-in show. You guys don't want Steve McClanahan calling over and over again, do you? He's just giving a break so he can see if somebody else calls, in case you don't know. He waited for quite a while to call the first time. I guarantee he was like, I'm going to call. He's like, all right, I'm calling. Because no one else is calling. What's he supposed to do? Wait all night? Okay, so somebody was mentioning the Colorado shooting. I have a little clip of that in case you didn't see it already. Craig says that nobody was really talking about it for a few hours. But I believe this is an earlier clip, a clip from earlier than what he was talking about, because I looked on the mainstream when I saw this happening and I didn't see it anywhere. And then like around 3 p.m., 4 p.m., they started talking about it. So
And breaking news on the world tonight right now in Boulder, Colorado. We are looking at live video of an area in Boulder, Colorado. There's an active shooter that has been reported at a King Soopers grocery store there in Boulder. According to police, we are working on details to independently confirm with the police there, but you can see the scene. You can see that there are emergency vehicles there on the scene, as well as some police officers and what looks like various people walking out of that. That looks like people walking out of the Boulder. We'll stick with this for just a moment. And anytime you have an active shooter scene, there's always training that police and emergency response units go through. And what they typically do is that they will try to clear the building of people who may be inside if they can. In active shooter situations, sometimes you have to actually await to try to do some negotiations with that shooter, to find that shooter, to make sure that he is not injured or hurt anyone or killed anyone, or she. And so we are live right now in Boulder, Colorado, waiting for more details from the police. I am told by reading our sources here at the Black News Channel on the World Tonight that the Boulder Police Department Public Information Officer is on the way to the scene to break down all of this for us. But you can see there are a lot of emergency personnel there, police, as well as at least 3 or 4 EMS units, emergency medical services. I'm not sure how large this facility is. We see right there that that's typically a SWAT team or a response team to an active shooter. You can see that they are walking behind a security, not a bunker, but it's actually to protect and shield the officers from any possible shooting that an active shooter might take place. We don't know if this is just one active shooter or several. Certainly in this country, given what took place last week, the police want to take the abundance of caution. You can see that they are approaching the building with that armament in front of them to shield them from any possible shots being fired from this particular building. Again, this is an active shooter at the King Soopers on Table Mesa, which is a roadway there in Boulder, Colorado. And certainly Boulder, Colorado, as well as Denver and that entire area, has seen its fair share of these kinds of situations, unfortunately. And again, we don't know what has taken place. We don't know if anyone has been injured, but certainly with the response that we've seen thus far, we want to keep an eye on this story and bring you updates as soon as the Boulder police are ready to tell us. But again, just reminding you that an active shooter has been reported at a King Soopers grocery store in Boulder, Colorado, according to police. And the reports that we're receiving so far from published reports is that a law enforcement source telling us that officers responded to a report of someone shot in the parking lot. And you can see that the parking lot is full now of emergency response and first responders, as well as police. And when they arrived at the scene, a suspect opened fire on them. That's a very serious issue, which means that this active shooter is threatening the lives of not only people, but also the lives of police officers. And right there is what appears to be a news chopper getting some scenes, some aerial views of what's taking place again at this King Soopers there in Boulder, Colorado. I will stay with this as long as my producer tells me to do so. We have a lot more to talk about on the World Tonight, but again, this breaking live, we want to stick with this for a little bit. We are waiting for the Boulder Police Public Information Officer to get there to assess what's going on, to assess but we don't know, we do know from reports that a person was shot in the parking lot. We want to find out if that person is injured, if he's or she is well. And then, of course, when they do this and finally get that active shooter, and they will, hopefully alive, they will be able to find out exactly what happened, what motivation was this, what caused this active shooter to actually go to a parking lot and open fire on someone, and then to actually turn around and open fire on police units as they responded. Very difficult day out there in Boulder on this Monday as we watch the developments. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we have a lot more to talk about here on The World Tonight. You are watching The World Tonight. Again, breaking news out of Boulder, Colorado. We'll be back with more on The World Tonight here on
I guess they don't have a lot. That helicopter is just following the other helicopter. I mean, that's all they're filming is following the other helicopter. What the heck is going on there, right? It looked kind of cool. It looked like they were racing there for a moment. But I think he was filming because that other helicopter was really low. He kind of looked a little bit close to the power lines. Not real close, but, you know, it seemed like he was a little bit low maybe. That might have been why he was filming him. I don't know. But another horrific image on the news. Really what I was trying to show there is that Craig was saying that the mainstream media didn't show any of this stuff for hours, and I got live footage for you guys. Even though, I mean, I got footage of those SWAT guys going into that building, right? It would have been nice to see how they were greeted at the front door, but I thought that that was kind of interesting footage. And then the helicopters racing, I thought that was trippy. So anyways, I have more videos for you if you guys want to watch more videos. Or let me see. I also have, well, I have this right here. You guys should probably see this. This is always very important.
Trump won the election. Among the suspect's possessions, this is real, a white privilege card. I want you to take a look at this. It's a fake white privilege credit card. Subtitle, Trump's everything. The card holder, scot-free with 2 T's. Scot-free is actually spelled with 1 T, but, you know, 2 T's on that card. That one piece of evidence, an insight into the man's state of mind, that he can get away with anything because of his skin color. His lawyer saying this to CNN. This was a guy simply following the advice.
That guy is such a snarky little twat. Oh my God. Scot-free is spelled with 1 T, unless you're trying to make it look like a name. And he's like, oh my God, this is you know, he has no sense of humor. It's like I found that card hilarious, right? Trump's everything. That's, you know, and later he looks at the birth date and everything. It says like, it says, let's see, I can't remember what it says. It says something like the beginning starts at, you know, from time of birth, and then it goes, and then it expires on, you know, with the day you die. I thought that was hilarious, man. Whoever, and it's created by a black guy, right? So it cost $10 for you to buy the thing, right? And when they had the Seattle chop going on, it was, again, it's created by a black guy. Wilco has pointed this out to you guys. During the chop, they were saying that, you know, white people should get, if they see a black person, they should just give them $10. So, again, this is created by a black guy, so, you know, you can give him $10. And you can get your white privilege card. So you take care of 2 things, 2 stones at once. How much better can that be, right? Okay, you guys know this is a call-in show, don't you? I'm going to go ahead and play more videos, and hopefully we'll get a call in between now and then. It isn't Steve motherfucking McClanahan. And no offense, Steve. And until then, I'm going to play videos, because I came to play videos, take fat dabs, and talk to phone callers. And we don't have any phone callers. So I don't know what to do, people, other than to play videos for you. And I'm pretty good at that. So coming up, clip number 2. It's actually clip number like 5 in succession, but clip number 2. You know, that's how it's marked. See, clip number 2. See, clip number 2.
Israelis are a day away from voting in the country's fourth election in 2 years. It is largely viewed as a referendum on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He is facing opposition from centrists and the right wing, as well as a corruption trial. Hadass Gold has the latest now from Jerusalem. She joins us live. Good to see you, Hadass. So some calling this a referendum on Netanyahu. What are the expectations of the outcome?
Well, Rosemary, obviously the world is a much different place today than it was the last time Israelis headed to the poll just 1 year ago. Of course, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been criticized for how he handled the coronavirus pandemic. But the one bright spot, of course, has been the robust vaccination program, which, as you can see at the Central Market in Jerusalem behind me, has brought a sense of normalcy back to Israeli life. Of course, the question will be whether that sense of normalcy, whether Israelis' reaction to how he has handled the vaccination route will be enough to keep him in power for an unprecedented other term.
Benjamin Netanyahu has been crisscrossing the country ahead of Israel's fourth election in just under 2 years, hammering the message that he's the one that turned the startup nation into the vaccination nation and brought historic peace agreements with Arab countries. With his corruption trial now underway, Netanyahu is desperate to win enough seats in Tuesday's election to remain in power. On the ground, this election is almost entirely staked on whether voters are for Netanyahu or against him. Yair Lapid, a smooth-talking former television anchor, sits out in front among the anti-Bibi bloc. His centrist Yesh Atid party looks set for a strong showing. The approach is low-key, refusing to rise to Netanyahu's provocations until finally issuing a challenge to a TV duel. Out on the streets, it's hard to miss those who want the leader gone.
The anti-Netanyahu camp up and down the country is passionate, dedicated, and loud, having weekly protests here in Jerusalem against the prime minister. But it's not clear if the energy will translate into the actual numbers that they need to form a cohesive opposition that could unseat Netanyahu.
The big challenge for the opposition is stitching together left and right. One of Netanyahu's former cabinet ministers, Gideon Sa'ar, broke off to form a party called New Hope, claiming he's the true bastion of the Israeli right. But Sa'ar's support has ebbed after a strong start. Then there's Naftali Bennett, another former Netanyahu lieutenant whose Yamina party may end up holding the keys to Netanyahu's future. Their seats could help put Netanyahu over the 61-seat majority he needs to hold on to power. Or, by joining the opposition, they could be the ones to sink him. Despite the many challengers, protests, a corruption case in which he has pled not guilty, not to mention his fourth election campaign in almost 2 years, Netanyahu presses on. One of his most loyal aides explains it like this.
Enough of Netanyahu. Fuck Netanyahu. He's a piece of shit war profiteer also. And he made Israel the vaccination nation. Which I thought was pretty funny. But they were saying that the opposition to Netanyahu, and they show all these people in the street protesting. You see all them protesting? You think those people are getting shot with pepper balls for being out and, you know, breaking curfew and hanging out with all the other people in such close quarters? I don't think they're getting shot with pepper balls. That's America. That's the United States. That's how our police state acts. At least, you know, to Americans, unlike, you know, Israel, who acts that way to Palestinians, but, you know, our own police state is doing that to Americans. And it's really unfortunate. Again, we deserve better, you deserve better, and I know we can do better. And it makes me so sad that, you know, that we can do better and that what we're offered is never any better. It's never ever going to get better till we make examples of them, putting them in prison, showing that, you know, the people who come next, we're prepared to put them in prison too, if you act like these people. Otherwise, why should it get any better? Look at the Pentagon, right? The Pentagon, again, costing trillions of dollars. You know, and they can't, you know, they're talking about going to war with China. They're talking about going to war with Russia. They're talking about going to war with Iran. and not just that they're, talking about it, they're trying to figure out how to make it happen. Okay, and these are the people who apparently the Pentagon can't see through stupid lies like yellow cake uranium and aluminum tubes, right? They can't see through bullshit like that, which, again and again, reporters are posting, that, well, not so much reporters as genuine journalists like Ray McGovern and Glenn Greenwald. They're talking about how this is all bullshit. So anybody who wants to see that it's bullshit could have seen that it's bullshit. The Pentagon, all they want is more war. All they want is a bigger budget. I mean, Bill Clinton was shutting down bases. Okay, he's shutting down military bases, right? And beginning to cut the budget back for the military, the Pentagon, cutting just a tiny bit, cutting it back just a tiny bit, instead of giving them, 50% more like they love to do every fucking year. They're just going to cut it back a little bit. And then you know what happened? After I think Clinton closed 2 bases, and I think he cut the Pentagon budget back by like $600 million or some insignificant amount compared to what it actually is, and maybe 69 million, I don't know. And so he closes 2 military bases, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, we have an attack in New York City. 9/11, 2 giant towers taken out by people who've never flown a plane before. 2 giant towers, 3 giant towers. One fell down without a plane hitting it. Fell straight fucking down. There's no reason to investigate that. We all know. And this is what this bullshit crackdown on speech is about. Okay, you see it happening on the Facebook, you see it happening on the Twitter. They're going to say, you see it happening on the YouTube, right? We all saw it happen to Alex Jones. That's just the beginning. I mean, we all saw it happen to Donald Trump. The President of the United States was kicked off. The most powerful man in the world. Mark Zuckerberg, wants to act like somehow he's more powerful than that. No, you can't talk on our platform, Mr. President, most powerful man in the world. I guess maybe I'm more powerful than you. All I have to do is go into God mode. That's Mark Zuckerberg, right? That's the douchebag Dorsey from fucking Twitter, right? These people are scum. They hate your freedom of speech. If anything, they would do everything in their power to protect it. And they're making examples out of the President of the United States and Alex Jones, very high-profile examples, so that you know that they can do it to you at any time. If you put hashtag stop the steal, you're kicked off Twitter. Hashtag stop the steal, your Twitter account is gone. So this again, and I do see Twitter and Facebook as extensions of the government at this point, just like the mainstream media. They have former CIA analysts working there too, and there's no doubt. And again, this is this twisted shit where we're not allowed to know the truth because the truth is threatening. In the land of lies, truth is treason, right? We live in the land of lies. Everything our government says is complete and utter bullshit. Everything the Pentagon tells us is complete and utter bullshit. We have to keep the drug war going forever. Because, oh no, it's not failed drug war. There's not an epidemic of heroin and meth in the streets. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mark. What's going?
Hey, Manny. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, just sitting over here in my room.
What's going on?
Well, I was watching about the curfew. I just looked into YouTube and I saw the question though. So is this because of what happened in Miami last weekend?
Yeah.
Dude, those people, I mean, no offense, but they behave like animals. I know.
And that had nothing to do with their skin complexion, right, Manny?
No, nothing to do with the skin complexion. It's all anything to do with the behavior.
Well, you know what? That's partially why they go there, Manny. And for decades, then being able to go there and act just the same as they're acting now, and they didn't get shot with pepper balls, and they didn't get told, "Oh, you have an 8 p.m. curfew."
But you know what I think happened though? I mean, we have a whole year where people were forced to be at home. It's like a cooker pressure. A whole year where people cannot party, cannot go home, cannot go out.
Right, so they're fucking wrapped as tight as it gets, waiting for a fucking party. And the governor of Florida said, come to Florida and party here. Everything's open, and we don't have a mask mandate. And then they get shot with fucking pepper balls by the police state because they're not performing in the way the police state says they should.
I know more about that. I know more about that super spreader event going on over there. I'm sorry.
It's fucking bullshit, Manny. You remember the giant Trump rally right before the insurrection at the Capitol? Okay? Those people, you know how the Trump people are? They're not wearing masks. Did we hear about what a super spreader event that was, Manny? Why are you still buying into this bull? Manny, in a year ago, in March, in February, you're calling the show and saying we're all gonna die, okay? And here we are, 14 months later, and you know, Manny, I'm still here, you're still here, you know, other than the callers that I really pissed off, everybody's still here, Manny.
I don't know, dude, but I feel like it was happened. It was meant to happen though, because of this pocket pressure that we apply on people for a year. I mean, just because we have like almost 6 months where everything was almost like completely closed. And I was happy on late July when they opened the Bellevue Mall and I was finally able to go in though. I mean, it was not the same experience though because they only had the stores were closed. But at least I was able to go inside a mall.
Yeah.
No. Or go to Barnes and Noble though because Barnes and Noble was closed.
Yeah.
Like the Crossroads in Bellevue would like the KFC was open and the rest of the I mean, technically speaking, the bar in Bellevue, the Crossroads in Bellevue was technically open, but all the businesses except the KFC were closed.
Yeah, I'm dying to go see some live music, Manny. So you know, I mean, again, it's easy to understand where these people are at, especially when the governor of their state is saying, "Come to Florida. Everything's open and we have no mask mandate." Okay, that's the governor DeSantis saying that shit. Okay, so people go there to party because they're all wrapped up and they haven't been able to do anything forever. So they're like, woohoo! You know, and then they get shot by police with pepper balls.
Because they didn't behave. I saw the videos, Max, and they looked like they were not behaving. They were like little kids trying to having tantrums in the street because someone said mean things or like they feel like, oh, West Side is better than the East Side. Gang side, yeah.
Yeah, you know what, Manny? I mean, this is really not the discussion that I want to have with you, okay? Thanks for calling. Again, those people are all wrapped up, okay? They, as Manny said, we haven't been able to go out and do anything forever. Those people are young people, and they're party people. They're looking for a party. And the governor of Florida said, come here and party. They go there and party, and the bullshit police state starts shooting at them and acting like they're criminals for accepting the invitation to come to Florida. And yeah, if I could go see some live music somewhere, I would. I've told you guys it's so weird to me. There's people, everywhere here in my neighborhood walking around in masks. And, you're outdoors and, they're like, nobody comes within 20 feet of you. So I don't get what it is that they think that they're doing, but no buts. I just don't get what the fuck they think they're doing. And it's really unfortunate that that there's all this hyped up fear, let the people party. They were invited to come there and party. Stop this bullshit police state that tries to program people into believing that somehow the people out having a good time are evil. The people that are standing up against the police state are evil. These are brave Americans in a proud American tradition of partying in the streets, but even more so, standing up for change, the change that they could believe in, that they were promised. The Occupy people, that's what they were all about. Where's this change we were promised? Right? That happened under Obama's administration. Even more so, an organization called Black Lives Matter was created under the first president, under the first black president. And why did an organization called Black Lives Matter have to be created under the presidency of Barack Obama? Why did that have to happen? Because the president, Barack Obama, didn't act like that was true. Acted like he didn't get that at all. So a protest group was reminding him, Mr. President Obama, Black Lives Matter, right? Under, again, the most liberal president of all time, right? Who just bolstered the drug war, who was considered the third and fourth term of George W. Bush and nicknamed Drone King. Okay? This is who the most liberal president in history was. Again, this is the bullshit programming that we get out of the mainstream media. And it is all bullshit, and I'm completely tired of it, I'm so offended by these people who think that you're so stupid as to believe that if we don't leave Afghanistan, there's going the Al-Qaeda is going to build up there, right? Okay? The Pentagon that we spend trillions of dollars on after 20 years is losing the war in Afghanistan. How is this possible? Oh, but we're going to go to war with China. We're going to go to war with Russia. We're going to go to war with Iran, who's ready, who's been practicing for the last 50 years to go to war with the United States. Not that they're going to do that, but they know that the United States and the Pentagon would like nothing more. But they can't beat people living in caves and mud huts. But they're going to go to war with China or Iran, who actually has a real army, not like Iraq, which is actually like 10 times the size of Iraq. Iran is 10 times the size of Iraq. There's no fucking way a piece of shit Pentagon that can't beat people living in mud huts and caves can beat Iran. And whoever thinks that is just completely misinformed and some kind of hero god worship thing, that you somehow believe that these pieces of shit in the Pentagon who want nothing more than more war, that they can't ever win, that you should spend trillions, that you should spend your children's future on. That's who our government is. That's who the people in the Pentagon are. Completely fucking worthless. and spending more of your money than you could ever imagine. So, and your children's futures, by the way, so you know. We're going to play clip 7, which is Spring Break Curfew. And I want you to remember, people, these curfews are in place for your protection. And anyone caught out after curfew will be shot. So we understand each other. I don't want you to misunderstand.
Opening up here in Washington State, you've got lockdowns, curfews, and road closures in place after massive crowds caused mayhem in Miami. Overnight, police struggling to control large groups of students on spring break and crowds of adults looking to maybe blow off steam. Everybody in the city would appear to enjoy the warm weather in Florida and the relaxed COVID rules. NBC's Kerry Sanders reports from Miami.
This morning, a state of emergency in Miami Beach after a weekend of chaos. Police deploying a SWAT team on Saturday to help manage the mayhem. Hordes of revelers descending on the popular Florida city, local officials taking extreme measures, using pepper balls to break up the crowd.
There is a curfew in effect from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Instituting an 8 p.m. curfew and shutting down bridges and causeways onto the island of Miami Beach.
Not cool. We're not even getting our money's worth.
When was the last time you went to bed at 8 p.m.?
I mean, I was like, it's been a very long time.
Miami Beach Mayor Dan Gelber.
Over the last month, it's been an escalating issue. This is not a spring break issue for us. We don't see it as spring break.
It's a violence issue.
It's a violence issue. It's a public safety issue. It's having too many people in a small area.
But the local crackdowns also sparking controversy.
I don't think that SWAT truck would have been here if it wasn't for people of color and for black folks in the area.
Miami Beach police say our officers police criminal behavior, not people.
Hey, what's up, Miami?
Not all here are college students. The mayor says Florida's lax protocols are enticing tourists. The fear some visitors will get infected and take coronavirus home.
The city of Miami Beach determining that they will keep this curfew in effect for the next 3 weeks, beginning Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. and going till 6 a.m. Thursday all the way through to Monday morning. Kerry Sanders, NBC News, Miami Beach.
The curfew in Miami Beach, Florida will be extended through April 12th in an effort to control these unruly spring break crowds in South Beach. Over the weekend, police had to use pepper balls to disperse the crowds, forcing the mayor to declare a state of emergency and set a curfew.
Right now, we're being asked to, take all people who are coming. A governor has said, everything's open, come on down. But the problem is that we're still in the midst of a pandemic. It's not in our rearview mirror yet by any means, and it's certainly not in my county and my city.
The curfew is set for 8 each night. There have been more than 1,000 arrests since February 3rd, and at least 5 officers have been hurt.
Large crowds of spring breakers caused chaos in Miami this weekend as the city tried to enforce a new curfew on the entertainment district there. Scores of people ignoring the 8 o'clock p.m. curfew were forced off the street by police using pepper balls. This was Saturday night. That caused a stampede-like response from some of the party goers. Miami police say at least 50 people were arrested this weekend alone, and as many as 1,000 have been arrested, they say, since the spring break season started. With more now on the situation in Miami, let's head to News Nation's Brian Enton, who's on the ground there right now. Brian, what a wild weekend.
Yeah, Joe, it was wild. It was just unbelievable over the weekend. City leaders say they have never, ever seen crowds like this in Miami Beach. It basically been building over the last several weeks, and it just became an enormous crowd over the weekend. On Ocean Drive behind me, it was like a rock concert. You couldn't even move. Several times on Saturday night, there were gunshots, and then it was essentially just a stampede of people and a very, very dangerous situation. And it got so dangerous, the mayor mayor of Miami Beach held an emergency council meeting over the weekend and put new rules into effect. So now where we are in Miami Beach, there is a curfew on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night that starts at 8 o'clock. And they don't just close down the businesses, Joe. They actually sweep the streets. They've got police on ATVs, and they make everyone leave this entire area. And they have even put roadblocks on the bridges into Miami Beach now, Joe. So starting at 9 o'clock, they check every single car coming into this area. And if you're not a resident or a hotel guest, they won't let you through, Joe.
All right, well, let's hope things calm down this week for spring break. Brian, thanks very much for the update tonight.
They check every single car coming into this area. Does that not sound like a police state to you? Manny, did you check? Did you catch it? He said the governor said everything's open. Come on down. Do you catch that, Manny? You know, I just want better for the people. You know, I want the people to be able to not be looked at like they're criminals. You know, I don't want the drug war to make it so that people who need help are criminals. You know, again, if we cut out the drug war, we're going to end 80% of crime. If we end 80% of crime, then it'll be easy to cut the police budget by 50%, right? That would be the simplest thing in the world. We can end the police state by ending the drug war. And how many more children's lives will we save? How many millions, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars will we save? How many people can we get off the street that we could actually help now instead of ruining their lives and put them in prison? So nice. All right, so whoever that was, you can call back. I was just busy there for a minute. Sorry. Let's see. So, as I was saying, I wanted you guys to see those clips because it all sounds like police state bullshit, right? I have more protest clips in Europe. They're having giant protests about the COVID lockdown, right? They're very upset about the COVID lockdown.
Oh.
Hello, caller.
Sorry, Mark, it was me.
I have video of that too.
I accept your correction. I think you were right on that part. My apologies. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, unruly people, we have to, the citizens of Miami have to pay the consequences of unruly people.
It doesn't have to, or is it a choice to?
Well, the citizens of Miami.
I mean, they're there in this party area where everybody flocks to party. They're not like they're spread out all over the city. They're in this area that's like this area where they call it South Beach, right? And they're down there, and that's yeah. So, you know, it's close to the water. They're hanging out, and, you know, yeah, they're getting a little crazy. After a year of being quarantined, maybe people need to blow off a little steam, you know, Manny?
Of course. I understand that part. I just don't accept the behavior, and I think everybody's going to pay the consequences of that type of behavior. And that's unfortunate, though. I'm not blaming the citizens. The citizens live there all the time, so yeah, they see really things that they probably want to go to another part of town. It's like the people that live in Las Vegas, though. How much you want to bet that people that live in Las Vegas, they rarely go to the strip. They go to other places outside the strip to entertain themselves. Their casinos are from the strip. Their foods are from the strip. That like hidden gems that are very popular among the locals, because the strip is a tourist trap. It's like going to Pike Place in downtown Seattle, or like the Space Needle on the Seattle Center. It's a great place for Seattle, but not a lot of citizens of Seattle go there because they know it's a tourist trap. So they go
it's a little bit expensive, but it's a nice place to have dinner.
That's true. But locals don't go there though because they know.
That's not true. I've gone there a few times.
So do I, but I don't actually go out into the Needle. I just hang out from the Seattle Center Park.
Yeah.
When this is before COVID.
Yeah.
I used to walk around the Seattle Center Park just to walk around.
Yeah.
I never actually go in to consume things inside the Seattle Park. And I used to go to Pike Place as well.
I used to walk. I worked in Queen Anne, and I used to walk through Seattle Center every single day.
Yeah, but do you actually went up the Space Needle? Do you actually consume food on the Seattle Center, like or like on the restaurants? Like, do you
like if it's folk life or if there's a concert going on, yeah, I consume food there. If it's the Bite, yeah, I consume food there. That's part of the reason you go there.
Yeah, that's true. Though.
And plus, I have friends who own a restaurant inside the Center House at the Seattle Center, and they make some great Mediterranean food. So yeah, I go there and eat sometimes. I don't go to Seattle Center specifically to eat, but if I'm there hanging out, yeah, I'm gonna get some food probably.
You're probably gonna go to the subway by the Como Center.
No, I'm not.
That's what I used to do though. Like the Channel 4 Como, they have a building in front of the Seattle Center. There's a subway over there. I used to go and get some subway over there, eat over there, and then go back into the Seattle Center. And right now they have some concerts. There's this radio station, KPMX or something like that, and they have concerts over there inside one of the buildings of the Seattle Center, which is nice. Don't get me wrong though, but still, like consuming inside the Seattle Center is a tourist trap.
Kind of, but it's when you're hanging out there all day, I get what you're saying, but there's a McDonald's across the street from the Seattle Center on both sides of Seattle Center, but I'm hanging out at the Seattle Center, so I don't want to go away from where I'm hanging out and then come back to where I'm hanging out, and it just doesn't make sense. So I spent a couple extra dollars.
Kind of reminds me to the people that work at Disneyland. People that work at Disneyland, they don't consume food from Disneyland because they're expensive.
Yeah.
They usually go across the street to the McDonald's or the Burger King or even the Denny's.
Yeah.
Across the street, it's actually cheaper than consuming inside the Disneyland.
Yeah.
Because I used to live in Anaheim back in the day. And a lot of locals, especially the ones that have annual passes, so I mean, yes, you got food discounts, but like a medium hamburger fries and a soda costs you like $20.
I don't know that that's true. I haven't been there for a while, so I don't know. But I don't think that's true, Manny. I know a lot of places in Seattle that are really nice, and the burgers don't get over $15. So.
Well, that's Disneyland, though. That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah.
So the point is, like, the people in Miami Beach that are making all that disaster, my guess is they're tourists and not locals. The locals, they probably won't go to South Beach at this time of the year. They probably want to go somewhere else to enjoy. Because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of hidden gems.
Well, look, Manny, it depends on who you are, okay? If you're a young person looking for a party, I mean, I can't imagine a place better than South Beach,
Of course.
Yeah, so there you go. That answers your question, dude.
But yeah, and the same analogy can be said by the people who live in Las Vegas. A lot of the locals don't go to the strip to entertain or eat themselves. They just go to other places outside the strip, on Henderson or like on North Las Vegas or something, or some other place.
There's a couple of really nice buffets on the Strip, dude. And a really nice buffet is one of those things that you can remember.
That's true. Anyway, all right, Max. I just want to say hi.
Okay, bud. Thanks for calling back.
You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. And I didn't mean, I did mean to cut Manny off last time, but I really didn't want to have a discussion about Bloods and Crips, you know, as he seemed to be going that direction. So, because again, all I see is Americans exercising freedom when they're in the street, whether they're carrying protest signs or just dancing. I like dancing. I remember in V, right? The V for Vendetta movie, which I continue to recommend again and again and again, because it's exactly what we're experiencing now in this country. But the V for Vendetta, he says,
wanted to take this call.
The girl, I can't remember her name. She says, you want to dance now on the night of your revolution? And he says, I can't imagine a revolution worth attending where there's not dancing, or something to that effect, you know. Which I love that. I love that because dancing in the streets is something that's, you know, because everybody's there. I keep talking to you guys about how much I would like to celebrate things like the end of the war. You know, every day I say, one of these days this war is going to end. And there's nothing that I would love to celebrate with you guys than that. And I really look forward to that day. And I can guarantee you there will be dancing around the world on that day. And it's us. It's up to America to make that happen, because we're the ones that are threatening everybody. What?
Michael, this is Steve motherfucking McClanahan. I'm calling you back. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't, lose cell signal with you.
Uh-huh.
Because I tell you what, the fucking satellite shit that's going on here in fucking the neck of the woods out in the fucking wilderness currently, which, you know, is AKA the world, I got two things I want to talk about. And one of them was what Manny was talking about, and then one of them is a breaking fucking news story that everybody should know about.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so an individual that I knew today was driving down the highway, okay?
Uh-huh.
And this is like local news stuff, you know, it's not like as exciting as, say, a school shooting, ladies and gentlemen, but it's pretty gruesome. So an individual I know is driving down the fucking road, and they were like, you know what, I gotta call fucking Steve McClanahan, because legit fucking journalist, we gotta break the fucking news. And no joke, seems to be some kind of an accident. I actually feel sorry for the individual to see all this stuff, but there was a massive fucking wreck apparently, and there was a lot of cow skulls and meat all over the fucking highway.
Gross.
And if I would have been there, I swear to God, I would have took the Mox news van, I would have filled that son of a bitch up with fucking meat and cow skulls, and fucking had a barbecue. Tell you what, it's sad. Tragic, it's very sad, but you know, fucking win, you know, even fucking win blew over Joe Biden. I tell you what, you never know what the fuck the world is gonna throw at you each day. Michael? All right, Michael.
Here's a suggestion.
Yes.
All right,
Just don't be a-holes. Here's a suggestion.
Excuse me.
Just don't be a-holes.
Excuse me.
Here's a suggestion.
I
Just
had
don't be
my
a-holes.
sit in,
Here's
you know,
a suggestion.
in the joint
Just don't
for
be
a
a-holes.
period of time.
Here's a
okay?
suggestion.
So I
Just
know
don't be a-holes.
about all that
Here's a
fucking
suggestion.
gang shit.
Just
Don't
don't
make
be
me fucking
a-holes.
go all street
Here's
on
a
you right now
suggestion.
all of a sudden,
Just
you know
don't
what
be
I'm saying?
a-holes.
Because I might.
Here's a
Because I know about the
suggestion.
Bloods and
Just
Crips
don't be
and, you know,
a-holes.
them
Hey.
gangs
Here's a
and-
suggestion.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they.
Hello?
She's
Hello?
a bitch, right?
Hello?
She's a
We're
bitch,
not talking about that?
right?
She's a bitch.
You know,
right?
This is
She's a
shit
bitch,
that you know
right?
nothing about. And
She's a
no,
bitch,
we're not going to
right?
talk about shit that.
She's a bitch.
I mean, I know that you love
She's
to
a
talk
bitch,
about
right?
shit that you know nothing
She's a
about,
bitch,
but we're not going to do that.
She's a bitch, right?
You know what
She's
I'm
a
saying? I
bitch,
fucking
right?
was out
No,
there.
I don't know what you're saying.
Right? She's a bitch.
Shit.
Right? She's a bitch, right? Here's a suggestion. Just don't be a-holes.
So,
Here's a suggestion.
do you
Just
know
don't
what
be
it is that I am
a-holes.
saying?
Here's a suggestion. Just
No,
don't be
I do not know
a-holes.
what it is
Here's
that
a
you are
suggestion.
saying.
Just don't be a-holes. Here's a suggestion. Just don't be
Okay,
a-holes.
so I have a video
Here's a
here about
suggestion.
protests
Just
going
don't
on
be
in the
a-holes.
EU
Here's a suggestion.
over
Just don't be
COVID
a-holes.
restrictions. And I
Here's a
really
suggestion.
like these
Just
protests
don't be
too.
a-holes.
Again,
Here's a suggestion.
this is
Just
what
don't be a-holes.
our government
Here's a
wants to begin to
suggestion.
call
Just don't
acts
be
of sedition
a-holes.
and
Here's a
insurrection.
suggestion. Just
And
don't be
and
a-holes.
this is what I'm talking
Here's a
about,
suggestion.
the
Just don't be
medical
a-holes. Here's a
dictatorship,
suggestion.
right? Is
Just
this
don't
the
be
direction that
a-holes.
we're headed? And shouldn't Americans be out in the street protesting too against all these restrictions? Because I don't see that happening.
She's a bitch, right? She's a bitch,
And it's
right?
sad.
She's a bitch,
you know, because
right? She's a
I
bitch,
really think
right?
that we
She's a bitch,
should be
right? She's
in
a
the
bitch,
street
right?
saying enough
She's a bitch,
already.
right?
We've had
She's a bitch,
enough.
right?
Stop
She's a
stop
bitch,
with the
right?
mind fuck
She's a bitch,
and let
right?
us have our lives
She's
back.
a bitch, right? She's a bitch,
I
right?
think.
She's a
I
bitch,
think that's what we should
right?
be doing.
She's
All
a
right,
bitch,
so I'm going
right?
to play that
She's a
video
bitch,
for you
right?
now
She's a bitch,
about the
right?
COVID-19 protests.
She's a bitch, right?
At least the restrictions. They're protesting the
She's a bitch,
restrictions. I'll be right back.
Start here in the UK. 2 police officers are in hospital after clashes with protesters in the city of Bristol. Thousands of people were demonstrating against a proposed new law that would give police more powers to limit street protests. As the hours went by, it turned violent. The UK's Home Secretary condemned what she called unacceptable thuggery and disorder. Our correspondent Andrew Plant sent this report from the scene.
In a protest against new police powers, it was soon police themselves who became the target. Vans and a police car set on fire, fireworks thrown into the crowd, as around 1,000 protesters gathered in Bristol's city centre in what has been, police say, the worst violence the city has seen in years. There's a row of police blocking off what is the central police station here in Bristol, but you can see at the end of the road they've also blocked off now the end of this city centre street, but also the side roads too, and they're doing it from behind. But there's still about 1,000 people in here, and now they're being left with nowhere to go. Protesters here holding banners, concerned, they say, that the UK is becoming a police state. The Kill the Bill march started in the early afternoon, but as night fell, the clashes began. Projectiles thrown at officers in riot gear. We saw several people with head injuries being helped from the crowd.
I think it's horrible, and I agree with the cause of the protesters, but I think this is not going to do anybody any good.
Several officers have been injured, some reported to have broken bones. The chair of the Avon and Somerset Police Federation said people's right to protest had been hijacked by protesters hell-bent on violence. Andrew Plant, BBC News in Bristol.
The virus is shutting down Europe, but thousands of protesters won't hear of it. We are seeing protests against coronavirus measures across Europe, the largest ones in months. People have gathered in Switzerland, Sweden, Austria, Germany. That's just to name a few, and sometimes clashing with police. The region is dealing with a third wave of infections, so some countries have been ordering new restrictions. In London, police say they arrested at least 36 people, scuffles breaking out as they tried to get the crowds to go home. Now, Europe is relying on AstraZeneca's coronavirus vaccine for its rollout, but the shot is once again under scrutiny. Denmark investigating 2 new cases of blood clots that could be linked to the vaccine. Along with Norway, Finland and Sweden, Denmark has put the vaccine on hold while it looks into those cases. Officials say about 20 million people across the region have received the AstraZeneca shot. So far, reports of clotting problems have been exceedingly rare.
Several European countries to demand an end to coronavirus restrictions. Infections are on the rise as a third wave begins to sweep the continent. But there are signs of growing frustration as many nations reintroduce lockdown measures to control the coronavirus pandemic. Aruna Iyengar reports.
Kassel in Germany, up to 20,000 people in a mass demonstration against coronavirus restrictions. Police used water cannon, batons and pepper spray to disperse them. Some don't believe the pandemic is real. Others say the curbs imposed to rein in the virus infringe on their civil rights.
I consider coronavirus to be a serious disease, like the flu, which can also be very serious, but to make a pandemic out of it, as we're seeing now with many restrictions on our basic rights, I don't think that's justified.
But COVID cases in Germany are rising exponentially, and just 8% of the population has had a first dose of a vaccine. Experts say they won't be able to ward off a third wave. Elsewhere in Europe, up to 10,000 anti-lockdown protesters marched through central London. In Warsaw, a so-called Freedom March, Poland has just begun a new 3-week lockdown after a sharp increase in cases. And angry demonstrations in Vienna, with many calling for Chancellor Sebastian Kurz to step down. In Helsinki, protesters organised a joint walk to reminisce about what normal everyday life is like. Protests took place across the country in Romania.
We've been living in a medical dictatorship for a year. This is the third wave now.
But here in Brasov, a more jovial affair with singing, dancing and a demand that churches stay open during Easter. Aruna Iyengar, BBC News.
Now, a music festival is going ahead in the Netherlands this weekend, despite the rest of the country being under a COVID-19 lockdown. The 2-day event is an experiment to try to work out whether there's a safe way to allow large social gatherings without increasing the spread of the virus. The BBC's Anna Holligan joins us now from Biddinghausen near Amsterdam. Anna.
Well, if I told you in a few hours' time there were going to be hundreds of people raving here, you might think I'm on another planet, literally. Actually, we're just on the other side of the North Sea from the UK, and this is something that we have been told not to do for almost a year. We have been told to keep our social distance, to avoid going out drinking with friends, let alone partying with strangers. But that can't go on forever. So what they're trying to do here is find a way to navigate back to doing the things that we love again. But let's talk about this, because there will be people watching thinking that it's reckless.
All right, so again, if you don't have your COVID pass, you're not getting in, even if we got to test you right now. Hey, we got a phone caller, Jason, on the line. What's up, Jason?
Hey, how's it going, pal?
All right, I'm doing fine. I'm going to make it. How about you?
I'm doing as good as I can, I guess. I was actually calling. I was going to ask your stance on certain social media modifications and stuff like that certain people could kind of make.
Modification? Modification?
Yeah, some people. And not you, like I'm not directing this at you, but some people say things on Facebook without context and other social media platforms, and I just don't know what we're going to do about social media causing such a huge divide in America. It's a root of a lot of problems.
Why do you think that is? What is it? What kind of comments is it that you're talking about? They're taking. Oh, you mean somebody just saying the N-word all of a sudden or something?
Well, some kind of in that regard, but like you also have political divide too. You have people that's on one side of the fence, and you have people that's on another side of the fence, and they combat each other all the time to like create this environment that's just so combative.
Well, I think that's what those people want. And if you want something different, then don't pay attention to those people for sure. Because see, the thing about social media Twitter and Facebook and such, is that these are the biggest soapbox in the world inside the biggest town square in the world. And that anyone who wants to should be able to step up on that soapbox and try and talk to people about what's happening in the world. This is a tradition that goes back, centuries. Is you take your soapbox down to the town square, you stand up on your soapbox, and you let everybody know, what it is that you see happening that's really important enough for you to get out here and try and get people's attention. And that's supposed to be, and nobody has to listen to that person who doesn't want to. If you don't want to get into a conversation with that person, if you don't want to listen to what they are saying, there's no reason why you should stand there and listen to what they're saying. And that's what I'm trying to tell you, is that if you want something better than a stupid political conversation where people, are knuckle draggers or whatever, don't look at political conversations. It's your choice.
Well, it's hard not to, in a way, because in certain areas of America, people are so politically divided and things like that. I feel like it's just better to completely avoid any kind of social media at all, especially if you're not involved in political. If you're not involved politically and you're looking at it more along the lines of ethically for humanity, I would rather not see human beings sit and argue with one another than
right. But there's this is what I'm trying to tell you, is there's a billion other people on social media besides the idiots that are arguing endlessly about political bullshit. Right? There's a billion other people, and some of them are making art. We have one guy who makes fractals for the background for the show, and they're gorgeous fractals, right? We have there's some people are making music. Some people are showing how to cook. Some, there's all these different things, and what's happening, it sounds like, is that you're choosing to focus on this political crap, and you don't have to.
No, I'm not even saying politically, Mox. What I'm saying is, if you go and you check out a YouTube video about anything going on in the world, and if somebody doesn't agree with something that somebody says in that, whether it be a sporting community, a political community, whatever the community it is, if somebody doesn't agree with something, they'll pinpoint on that, and then a whole subculture will devise from that same argument and combat those other people, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying everybody on social media is bad. I'm just saying that there's these subcultures of people that pick and choose arguments. I don't choose to focus on those. I kind of just scroll past them. I was just asking, what you thought would be, what in your opinion, what would be the best thing for everybody to mellow out?
Okay, well, in my opinion, again, it should be just completely freedom of speech. And anyone with a platform like Twitter or Facebook or YouTube should fight tooth and nail for freedom of speech and be yelling about how the government is trying to censor your freedom of speech, because that would stop the government from doing it. What's that?
As Americans, we have the right to say whatever we want to at any point when we want to. That is freedom of speech. That's everything America was built on. So I see what you're saying there.
Yeah, and my point being, again, that if you don't want to listen to what that person's using their freedom of speech to express, then you don't have to listen. Because if you go to these people that are showing you how to cook spare ribs or how to make curry or whatever it is, they're not having political conversations I thought your example of sports communities. No, I thought your example of sports communities is very interesting, because you said that even the sports can become very divided, and that's the way I see people perceiving politics right now, as some kind of sporting thing. So this is my side, and you're completely wrong to think that the other side is going to beat my side, and
oh yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I've never been a sports guy, because I don't think it's worth it to hurt someone in order to win a game. And that doesn't seem, when I was growing up, it was worth it to stomp on people to win a game. It's supposed to be a little different now. I don't know if it is or not. But,
well, it's a little bit of a safer game today, but it's not much different when you're competing.
yeah. So, I've never been a real sports person, and so I don't, it's weird for me when I see people, like fucking kind of hero worshipping sports teams and sports figures.
Yeah, it's very odd. Like,
Yeah.
Let's first say, like, I like the NBA and I like LeBron James, but you see some people that are absolutely just obsessed with these athletes, like, and put them in a god tier almost. And when they do wrong, it's like, well, they can't do wrong because they're regarded to this high level. But in reality, they're human beings. They absolutely can do wrong.
I think the basketball is one of the most exciting sports to watch because it just is constant action. It just really doesn't stop. And if you take your eyes off it for a minute or two, you might really miss something big. So
It is a very intriguing sport, and especially with over the last few years, the way free agency and stuff like that has worked out. People can literally go anywhere they want to go, and they can form these super teams that are real contenders. And they're really fun to watch because they have all these 5-star players on the team.
yeah, I'm not sure, but you say, so you do get what I'm saying, is that these people who have these big social media platforms, one of their biggest priorities should not be stepping on people's free speech. It should be letting them say, and you know why I think this is so important, is because, as I've said in the past, is that freedom is how we're going to find the next evolution of mankind. And I think these people that are trying to limit our freedom over and over again are honestly trying to suppress the next evolution of mankind. They're so threatened by us, moving into the 21st century boldly, with new ideas and people able to make new things happen. They hate that idea because they're so entrenched in fossil fuels and the police state and never-ending wars,
Right.
Yeah. So the only way that we overcome those things is through freedom of speech. Go ahead.
The fossil fuel thing, I absolutely can understand more than anybody. I live in the Appalachia area, and a lot of people like here have become absolutely dependent on coal. And the thing is, they get so hung up on, losing their jobs. Like, there's been multiple opportunities and I'm not a big government supporter, but our local governments have offered them retraining and everything else like that, but they're just so headstrong and strung in their ways.
Yeah, well,
they're so
a lot of them
about it, and I mean, I get it. Like, they're losing their job, but
a lot of them
they're offering retraining.
Yeah, but a lot of them act like, oh, my granddaddy did this and my daddy did this, and now I do it, and that's just So it's a very weird thing, the coal mining thing.
And you know the crazy thing about that, Mark?
Yeah.
My father did it. My grandfather did it, and I'm not doing it.
That's really good, man. Did they tell you not to do it?
Well, I was more likely encouraged to do it.
Wow.
It's not only, and it's just the way of life here. Like, if you're not in the coal industry, like, they give you this idea in your head that there's nothing else.
Yeah.
A lot of kids that grow up here have this mentality like it's coal mines or nothing, and they don't leave and go explore other things because it's the third poorest county in America, and they're just so headstrong in their ways.
Well, I just think if these fossil fuels, honestly, it took the Earth how many years to create these fossil fuels? And if they're so important to mankind, maybe we should stop using them up at the quickest rate we possibly can and, actually try and conserve on those just in case they're going to be really important for something in the future. And again, stop poisoning our beautiful green blue jewel, you know, and
Absolutely.
yeah, and again, moving boldly into the 21st century to basically find free energy, free electricity for everybody in our country. It can be done, I'm telling you.
It can be done, and I wish it could be. But then again, you have these coal companies with these they own these billion-dollar corporations.
Yeah.
Some of them multiple billion-dollar corporations, and they're looking at more of money signs in their pockets and kind of what they can do for not only the world.
And they own all the politicians, the petroleum companies. The CIA is fully entrenched in the petroleum companies.
Oh, the governor of the state of West Virginia owns one of the biggest coal mining operations in the United States.
Wow, that is crazy, dude. That's something. There is something really messed up.
Yeah. Just to give you some context on kind of how the area is, it's so coal dependent. People are almost brainwashed that that's the only opportunity you have to make any kind of money.
Yeah, it's I hear what you're saying. I mean, I get it. It's, I think people are being brainwashed everywhere to believe all kinds of bullshit that's just simply not true, and that's why I keep saying that we deserve better. I know we can do better, but more than that, we deserve better. You know,
we do. There's so many good human beings out there with the good of everybody and everything in their hearts that just don't have a platform to put that out there and give people that kind of hope that they need.
How do we get all these evil people in charge, dude?
It blows my mind. I have no idea. It's pure corruption from the ground up.
Yeah, it's I honestly don't see any answer except for to put them in prison forever because we have to make examples of them. Otherwise, the people who come behind them are just going to be exactly the same, just as it's been, for the last, 100 years or whatever.
Yeah. And what terrifies me is I'm 21 years old, I'm a college student, and, what world am I going to be in when I'm 40? What's it going to be like then?
Well,
because the way it's looking now,
the thing to do, you have to stay cool, okay? Because during when the plague first started, right? I was like, just stay cool and we'll get through it. And the reason is because no matter what it is, we always get through it. So they're gonna and don't buy into the hyped up fear, because one of the things they want the most is for you to be afraid. And I know I can hear in your voice that you're a much stronger person than that.
Thank you. It's more concerning than fear, I suppose. But it's still there's definitely a little bit of underlying fear there. But it's more just concern as to what things for everyone else is going to be like rather than for me, because I've kind of got a grasp and an idea of what I need and want to do in life, but there's so many people that's prohibited from doing the things that they need to do in life because, obvious reasons.
Yeah, well, I was saying the other night that could you imagine a world, because here's the way I see it. Humans are the tippy top of the food chain, the big-brained, upright walking, can make anything happen almost that we can imagine. And again, this is why I'm saying that the next evolution of mankind is being suppressed. Because can you imagine a world where not only are people, because nobody's taught this, not only are people taught that, we're the upright, big brain, tippy top of the food chain, can make anything happen that we imagine. Not only are they not taught that, they're not helped. So imagine if they were taught that and then encouraged to make those things happen, and then actually, instead of spending our fucking treasure and blood on never-ending bullshit wars that they're never going to win, we took all that money and said, if you have a great idea, we want to get behind you and help you make it happen. That would just send the evolution of mankind, so much further than it's happened in the last 100 years, just in a couple of months, I bet. Go ahead.
It absolutely would. We have been prohibited in a lot of ways. You have these very few people in the world that are intelligent superhumans, like Elon Musk per se, that have these groundbreaking ideas, and people kind of present them like, wow, like we thought of that. But if you think about it, if people would have had more access to education and stuff like that to learn these types of things, there would be a lot more superhumans out there like that.
Yeah, it's not just that. It's that I don't think you have to be a superhuman. I think you can be like, I'm a very simple guy. So I think you can be a very, just a normal human, and you might come up with an idea. And that idea, if you had the right backing and the right encouragement, might actually change the entire course of mankind. And I think that it's really, this is one of the things that's most important to happen, is to recognize that, so that we can move towards, that's the life that humans should have. We should be moving towards that instead of this never-ending war bullshit. And the people in charge know this. This is why I'm saying that they're suppressing the next evolution of mankind purposefully.
There's too much money for those people in those positions to be made for them to really even care.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
Not one bit.
Yeah.
And you see it in certain places.
Yeah, you can see it in their,
all around America.
You can see it in their speeches. You can see it. You can see it in what they make happen. I've talked about this again and again. What America needs is a 21st or if not 22nd century infrastructure project where we're looking towards the future, because in our lives we're not going to experience it a whole lot except for helping build it. But we're looking towards the future about how we can make the people's lives in the future, this thing that's worth living for. It's like that, this is how America became great in the first place. We had the best infrastructure in the world. And now, for the last 100 years, we've just let it crumble into nothing. Instead of, again, moving boldly into the 21st century, leading the world that direction, which we could easily do. But instead, we want to make endless wars of choice forever.
We have all the resources, but it seems like all the people that know how to fix it don't have the money, and all the people that can fix it have the money.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about, is that if the people who have the money wanted a 21st century infrastructure project in place, you can bet there would be one. And the reason, again, why I talk about this so much is because that would create good paying jobs back and forth across the nation, where you might not feel like the only choice you have is the coal mines,
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mox. I appreciate you taking my call. I've enjoyed having this chat with you. I'm going to continue watching on, and you have a good night, my
Okay,
friend.
Jason, I hope you'll call back soon.
Thanks, man.
All right, stay cool, bro. And that was Jason. And this is what I'm talking about, right? We can have, this is what's important, is to have these conversations where, we can define the problems and define what the solutions are, and just, again, maybe be able to spread that word a little bit, because that's what the world needs. It needs more people that want to spread that word. And maybe, one day somebody spreading the word will get everybody's attention, and they'll say just the right thing. And we'll put these motherfucking war profiteers, war criminals, committing crimes against humanity in your name with your hard-earned tax dollars in prison for the rest of their lives. And won't that be a beautiful day for all of mankind? Can you not imagine dancing in the streets on that day? I cannot. I just think everybody will be out in the streets dancing, because it's such a day. We have to celebrate it, and we have to remember it forever. It needs to become a national holiday where we all go into the streets and celebrate the day we actually took our country back. Just like July 4th, only better, because it's our people doing it. It's because these people are so much more evil than the people that threw off the British soldiers, you know, the British Empire in 1776. These people are doing evil in our names on a daily basis. And they say it's that they call themselves public servants and try and tell us how it's for our protection. Remember, people, these curfews are necessary for your protection. And anyone caught out after curfew will be shot for your protection. Don't forget. That's the government we have. I feel so blessed to have this wonderful government. Let's talk about these people who, again, the FBI needs your help. The FBI, who's spying on every single person in the United States and as many people as they can around the world, cell phone. The FBI needs your help. It's just like the Pentagon not being able to fucking win in Afghanistan after 20 years. Pentagon needs your help. We don't have fucking facial recognition cameras everywhere throughout the Capitol. Pentagon, the FBI needs your help. The company that we spend, how much? $1 trillion, $500 billion, $750 billion on every year. Are these acts of sedition that I'm doing? I really like to know. Do you think that I'm committing sedition by saying that the Pentagon is run by a bunch of fuck-ups? Because I think so. Do you think I'm committing acts of sedition by saying that all the sitting members of Congress must go to prison in order to make the world a safer place for little children? I think I am, and I'm very fucking proud of it. And you know why? Because we're given the right to say the things we want to say. And you know why we're given that right? To speak out against a piece of shit police state government. 100%. That's the reason we're given the right. So I recommend that you do it too, every chance you get, to as many people as you can get to listen. Because maybe one day we will then recognize the common enemy and do everything in our power to defeat it. So we can get our country and our government back from evildoers who all they care about is making another shiny penny for their pocket. Fuck those people. The American people, we the people of these United States, deserve better than garbage like that. I can tell you that for sure. I'm going to play number 8. Wait, number 8? Number 8? Did I play the Euro protest? The European COVID protest? I did. I'm going to play number 8, which is the Capitol Hill protest, and how the FBI needs your help, people. Desperately needs your help. They desperately. Again, the Capitol Hill protest on January 6th, we've seen this around the country in state capitals. It happened here in Olympia. It happened in Michigan, I believe. And I'm certain, absolutely, it's happened in many other places. And what they're trying to do is make it look like the people who occupy and protest the people's house are domestic terrorists. And it's coming to your state real soon. In fact, it's already there. Most of the state capitals now have chain link fence around them with razor wire. I'm pretty certain that's the way it is in Olympia. Capitol Hill protest number 8. Right here.
This afternoon, the FBI is pleading for help to identify some of the most violent offenders of the January 6th siege of the U.S. Capitol. Authorities are now on the hunt for this man, seen in this video, beating an officer with a metal rod. This, as Michael Sherwin, who is leading the investigation into the riots, says it's possible sedition charges could be added.
I believe the facts do support those charges. And I think that as we go forward, more facts will support that.
Sedition is conduct or speech that incites people to rebel against establishment. Prosecutors have charged more than 300 people for their alleged roles in the Capitol siege. Prosecutors say they are not ruling out charging former President Trump with incitement either.
Also tonight, an assault on the nation. Those are the exact words of a federal judge who today blasted the man charged with attacking Capitol Hill officer Brian Sicknick with bear spray during the January 6th insurrection. Prosecutors releasing these images of Sicknick and 2 other officers. You can see them huddled with their heads down. This is right after they were attacked. One FBI agent testifying that they were all temporarily blinded. Sicknick later collapsed and died. This comes as the former top prosecutor who led the criminal investigation into the insurrection tells CBS that Trump himself could be held accountable.
It's unequivocal that Trump was the magnet that brought the people to D.C. on the 6th. Well, we have soccer moms from Ohio that were arrested saying, well, I did this because my president said I had to take back our house. That moves the needle towards that direction. Maybe the president is culpable for those actions.
That is from a man appointed by Trump.
And yet today,
The president said, we have to take back our house. It's our house. It's our house. It's our house. It doesn't belong to garbage, evil-doing politicians. It's our house. That piece of shit right there just said so. It's our house. Okay? And by the way, she defined acts of sedition not quite properly. It's conduct or speech. Actions, conduct, or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of the state or monarchy, which is what I think I do on a daily basis. Proudly do on a daily basis. We have to rebel. We have to rebel. We have to rebel. We have to recognize the common enemy. The common enemy being the ever-expanding police state government. It is the only choice we have. Unless you want to spend the rest of your lives on your knees, unless you want your children to spend the rest of their lives on their knees, it's the only choice we have. Unless you want evil done in your name with your hard-earned tax dollars, it's the only choice we have. We have to recognize the common enemy, and we need to put it in prison forever in order to make the world a safer place for little children. Anyone can understand that. And I'm talking about, hey, what's up? No, I'm not going to do that. You're the man. You do what you need to do. The man's looking at you. He's looking at you hard. The man is coming for you. Okay, so I have more videos. I'm waiting for a phone caller. The do not disturb is not on the phone. So far we've gotten Steve McClanahan and Manny twice each. Oh, and Jason. It was really good to talk to Jason. That was my favorite phone call of this evening. Of the week so far. Let's see. We played white privilege card. Biden nominee at the Pentagon. I have another spring break one. There might be bikinis in that one. I'm going to play that for you. Spring break lockdown. Again, these curfews are in place for your protection. Don't forget. And anyone caught out after curfew will be shot for your protection.
We're going to turn now to our focus on Miami Beach. Miami Beach police are working to control the large crowds there the city has been seeing for spring break. As you have watched over the weekend, there were quite a few people out there. However, some people have concerns with the way police are handling that and wondering whether their tactics are racist towards black people. Joining us now to discuss this with more from Miami Beach is our own BNC correspondent, Derek Lewis. Derek, talk to me about it.
Well, Kelly, the viral videos that we have seen on social media show large crowds, mostly black people on vacation. Now, as the city of Miami Beach works to get that under control, those large crowds, we are learning that police are using pepper balls to disperse the crowd when that 8 p.m. curfew goes into effect. Now, the city of Miami Beach mayor says they are seeing between 50 to 100,000 people visit the city a day. This is how it looked Sunday night as that 8 p.m. curfew was going into effect. The mayor says this is something they have to figure out how to maintain. He has declared a state of emergency and says this curfew will go into effect until at least March 30th. Several people have been arrested following the curfew. Some people have called the tactics of Miami Beach police racist. Here is how the department responded.
We police criminal behavior, not specific people. We are a year-round special event destination. Special events are nothing new to our department, nothing new to our city. Again, I'll go back to our arrest data, which is not something we're necessarily proud of. Over 1,000 arrests in just over 6 weeks, over 11,000 traffic citations issued, over 100 guns taken off of the street, and close to 400 of those arrests being felony charges. These are necessary efforts, necessary measures to keep our residents, our community, and most of all, our officers safe.
Now, we are in the Art Deco cultural district, and that is the area that police are working to make sure they enforce and get this area under control. Right now, we're at the edge of that district here on 5th and Ocean Kelly, but right now we have not seen much activity here throughout the day. But again, the mayor is saying that it's normally in the evening when those large crowds start to come. But again, that 8 p.m. curfew is in effect until 8 p.m. And that is when police will be out throughout the evening, making sure that things stay safe here tonight. Kelly?
Hey, Derek, let me ask you, first of all, you look good down there. At least that's the bright spot, that Derek is there enjoying the sun and the fun. But this is a very serious issue. What are officials saying is the contributor to so many people coming to the area in the first place, other than it being Miami?
Yeah, well, because it is Miami, that's the thing right there. The weather here in Miami is very different than the weather across the country. So you have so many people coming down here on flights that are not expensive, hotels that are not expensive, and then you have people who have been stuck in the house for a year now because of this pandemic, experiencing what many people are calling COVID fatigue. They want to get out, they want to travel, they want to come out and have fun, but the city was not expecting so many people to be out here. In addition to that, you also have the governor. Local officials are saying that the governor has invited people to come to Florida, advertising Florida, saying that this state is open, that people can come down here during the pandemic, have a good time. But again, with so many people coming, they were not expecting this large crowd here in South Florida.
Yeah, and as you know, the governor has caused quite a few people to be concerned. He's rankled a few feathers and ruffled a lot of people, especially the mayor of Miami Beach, who wanted some safety there and people to mask up and COVID down. Derek, we thank you for bringing that report to us from Miami Beach. Derek Lewis reporting for BNC. Stay safe out there, and while you're there, enjoy the sun.
Thank you.
That's the BNC. That's a new channel on the cable dial, from what I understand. BNC. I'm not sure exactly what that acronym stands for. Is that an acronym? I think it's an abbreviation. I think it's Black News Channel. I'm not sure. And it's weird. I'm watching to see if like every single reporter they have on there is a person of color. So far, I'm pretty sure that's all I've seen. And it doesn't bother me. It just seems like it would bother a lot of other people if the tables were somehow turned. So that's all I'm saying. But we're going to get more videos from them because I like the way they do that. I didn't particularly care for that story, but I do like the way they do some of the videos, and I think that you'll probably find some of them very interesting. And they were the ones who had the live helicopter feed from the shooting in Colorado earlier. As I was saying, that was the first place I saw it, and then I didn't see it other places for a few hours. So All right, I have one video left. If you guys would like to call, the numbers right there on the screen, it's 805-669-6397. And I have one video left. Oh, I have two videos left. I have two videos. So I came here to smoke fat dabs, play news clips, and talk to people who call. And since we don't have any callers, and I've had enough dabs for the moment, I'm going to play these videos for you. And if we don't get any callers, well, I'm going to go watch some kung fu movies or some how to grow marijuana movies, clips or something like that, which I recommend to everyone. I got to figure out how to not to talk so much in the gardening videos, because I am not an expert, and it seems like there's a lot of people who talk like experts, and I don't want to do that. You know, I want to explain that I'm not an expert, and that this is simply the way I'm doing it because I've seen other people do it this way. So, but I'm really looking forward to that. And I'll do my best not to talk too much. But I also have clips. I have little clips to put into it too, which should be fun. As you know, I've been doing cannabis news clips forever, so I have lots and lots of them.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky. Some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am?
You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
Elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness. Fuck yeah. Everyone needs that, right? Elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness. That is clip number 1. I love that one. Which is an unsolicited, unsponsored promotion. I just like that clip. That girl laughing at the end is so cute. And it's a great clip because it kind of basically explains the world we live in, right? Where these people are all fucking stressed out and wound up and screaming, you know. And then, you know, looking out your window at what kind of fucked up shit's going out there now. And then you have a little cannabis. And you're like, wow, what a pretty day. And you're smelling the flowers. You're playing the guitar. And you go into the park and grooving on your juice box. I can't imagine a more perfect commercial. So I have one video left. Right? One video left? Yeah, I have one video left. I'm going to play that one for you now. and then I'm going to go experience my increased sensitivity to musical dopeness as much as possible.
And now taking a live look at the U.S. Capitol, groups opposed to one of President Biden's nominees for a top job at the Pentagon are now running ads in the home state of a key Democratic senator whose swing vote could make or break that nomination. National correspondent James Rosen explains the controversy behind Colin Kahl.
Senate Republicans working to defeat the nomination of Colin Kahl as Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, the Pentagon's #3 civilian job, are now citing the nominee's disclosure in a 2017 tweet of information about Yemen from a classified session of the Interagency Deputies Committee. Information of a category, Bill Hagerty of Tennessee said, to which even senators and Senate staff with the highest security clearances are almost always denied access.
And to be blunt, Dr. Kahl, your social media and other commentary over recent years, not just a handful of months, but years, provides a concerning outlook to me.
And for that, I apologize. At a contentious confirmation hearing March 4th, Kahl, the former national security advisor to Vice President Biden, apologized for tweets in which, among other things, he had labeled the GOP a death cult and the party of ethnic cleansing. With Republicans uniformly opposed, Kahl cannot afford a single Democratic defection.
I have a couple of questions I want to ask.
And once again, all eyes are on centrist Democrat Joe Manchin of West Virginia, who torpedoed President Biden's nomination of Neera Tanden as OMB director over her harsh tweets against Republicans. Christians United for Israel, an evangelical group, has begun running full-page ads in the Mountain State, reminding Manchin that Kahl opposed relocating the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. Kahl's backers point to the support for his nomination expressed by Amos Yadlin, Israel's former head of military intelligence, who credits Kahl with helping the Jewish state acquire missile defense systems.
The secretary looks forward to having Dr. Kahl installed as the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy. He urges the Senate to give him a vote.
With Easter recess looming, Senate Armed Services Chairman Jack Reed, Democrat of Rhode Island, was said to be looking to lock down Manchin's support for Kahl so the committee could hold a vote as early as Tuesday. Manchin's office did not respond to a request for comment. Reporting from Chesapeake Bay, Maryland, James Rosen.
All right, my little ninjas. I am all out of videos. I've had enough dabs for the moment. I'll probably have another one after I eat. I can't have a dab right before I eat because then the food tastes weird. So I'll probably have one right after I eat because that sounds pretty good. So we do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And that means we'll be back tomorrow, same Mox time, same Mox channel. And I hope we see you there because it's always better when you're here. Please never forget that. Until then, stay cool because one of these days this war is going to end. Stay cool till then.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they...
What is that girl doing? Is she just making fun of that guy? What is she doing? I don't know, but I hope she does it again real soon.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories, 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.